Righto, Money Miners. Tell you what, if there's bugger all news around, you two can just pluck shit out of everywhere, and there is never a quiet show. And today is not.
You find yourself down, I think all three of us had these awesome rabbit holes we just fell down for the last 4 or 5 hours.
No one asked me to do it, but I'll do it for the Money Miners.
There's some twists today, Matty. Some real, just twists.
Why the first story is about lithium, I just want to ask you why it is not the twist in Sierra Rutile. Did you not get any responses to your call?
I liked it, mate.
Should we do it? Do you want to do it first?
No. Because we're going to make a thumbnail about
Albemarle, Sierra Rutile.
I need
can't
the
say
comments.
I didn't offer.
I really need the comments to back me in on this interesting story. I reckon after today, I might have just forced enough people to care about this story that maybe we'll have a bit more interest. But at the moment, it's
you're not feeling the love.
Me and the 3 shareholders of Sierra Rutile will care about this.
Right, first up, Albemarle auction and lithium pricing.
Yeah, going to talk a bit about the futures prices, contracts that have come out around lithium and whatnot, and then the big block that Albemarle put up.
I've got a brief call out to these companies that are raising capital. Geez, the opportunity emails are flying in at the moment. Mate, of course, the battle for Sierra Rutile has another twist.
Big twist.
Mate, huge twist, and that was a rabbit hole itself. Mate, Hastings rattling the tin, but geez, that is a big story to talk about what the future of that company is. Mate, coincidentally, a well-timed raise from Kingston, JD, on the back of Talisman's drill hits today.
Out in New South Wales.
The mighty Cobar, mate. Fortuitous capital raise.
God's country, mate. ASM.
Naughty. That's all to be said there.
Right, boys, take it away. Lithium and the Albemarle auction. So this is, we normally hear about Pilbara's bike auction, but Albemarle are doing something similar.
They are. So
Twitter's flying.
It is. So
lithium bounce.
Exactly. So we're going to talk a bit about lithium, how the market's maturing, how things are being priced lately, and then about this auction, this bike auction, as you call it. And it's quite fitting as...
Only Pilbara get the bike auction, mate. They're the only ones with the BMX.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're not going to be doing it much longer because they've contracted everything away. So Albemarle did chuck up a 10,000-tonne block of spodumene concentrate on the Metals Hub digital trading platform. So not quite as good as bike or BMX, but it's not bad and it's pretty intriguing. Metals Hub, their bread and butter is manganese and chrome, but they sort of try to create markets for a whole bunch of other metals out there. And they're actually working with the LME on a green nickel index. And we've spoken about the idea of this heaps. They already have a contract for nickel briquette premium index, what they call. So that trades at $250 above the LME class 1 nickel price. I'm very keen to see if they get any sort of traction with that. But back to lithium. So Albemarle usually sells, most of these lithium producers, their product on contracts, and they've made a big song and dance this time about selling it via this block via Metals Hub. So it's a big sort of transparency push, and they're also hoping to get a bit better price discovery along the way, similar to the Pilbara auctions that we have spoken about in the recent months. So why they do this is because the lithium market, like quite a few of these more niche metals, is pretty opaque. So whenever we talk about prices here, we're talking about what we're seeing from Platts and from fast markets. And the lithium miners, especially when the price has been falling, have been super critical of the prices that they're reading because they're saying, these prices aren't accurate, or they can be quoted off just one person confirming what another person's sort of seen, or just one thinly, traded amount, one small block of volume that's gone at, price XYZ. And that's what's quoted to the whole world as what the lithium price is. So this auction is one way of them fighting back against that and trying to get a bit more transparency in the market. And naturally, as the sort of size, as the value, as the number of participants grows, you'd expect the transparency and the ability to hedge risks in a marketplace to increase. And we're starting to sort of see signs of that. We had these Wuxi futures, where they were the first ones that came out in 2021. And then last year there was that big release of the GFEX futures out of Shanghai.
Everyone tracks them.
Well, they're wildly volatile and stuff, and they've got quirks which I'm going to sort of get into. So people look at them. Obviously, it's not how everything's priced off of, although that's how, certain firms want things to be priced off of. So that GFEX one, that is only for Chinese firms, although you can access a broker to trade with that one. But then you've also got the LME as well as the CME, so from England and from America, providing futures contracts. Now, the LME contract has not traded at all. So not even, one contract. And then you got the CME one, which is actually sort of slightly starting to pick up in popularity. And that's got the benefit of being cash settled. So that's much more of a hedging type of instrument, or perhaps a financial speculation type of instrument. Whereas, if you compare that to the GFEX one, you actually have to take or make physical delivery of, whatever the carbonate product that they've decided to go with is. So you have to become a qualified buyer to play that sort of game. So lithium obviously has added complexity versus other metals because it's not perfectly fungible. The battery makers, they need a qualified product that they take. That's why you ideally have long-term contracts that are fairly priced between miners and the receivers, the battery makers, because you can't just be getting random product from one mine one week and then from another mine another week. It doesn't work well for your process because you need such pure and good quality product without any deleterious elements in it. So that makes
you just want the same product because say your flow sheet can adapt to a product a lot easier than toll treating isn't good for mines because you've got to bloody change shit all the time.
Exactly.
In this instance, JD, what did Albemarle sell their spod for?
So they, like I said, put up this 10,000 tonne. This came from Australia. This came from Wodgina, and Wodgina had been producing in the first half of the financial year at 5.8%. So this was reported at spodumene concentrate grade 5.77, so just under that what MinRes had been guiding to. Now the West reported that it was sold at US $1,200 a tonne on a spodumene concentrate 6% basis. SMM, the Chinese metals data provider, they reported it being priced at, or bidding being done at, 9,370 yuan per tonne with tax included. And that's important because Albemarle were only taking the pricing in yuan and the bids were all confidential. That was a sort of standard part of the process there. So that implies an SC6 price of around US 1,300, although if you're, including the tax, it's probably closer to $1,200 US dollars a tonne. So, despite all this talk about, being much more transparent, as usual, the lithium market is still very opaque. And I mean, it confuses me a bit with regards to what Albemarle's trying to do, but regardless, it is a step in the right direction if you're a lithium bull, and I think it's pretty encouraging because the last reported spot prices that we'd seen by Platts and Fast Markets were $1,050. So even at the low end, this is a sort of 10% type jump up.
I'd be good on those, mate, call out to UBS for the bloody morning newsletter on the price changes. It'd be good to see what volumes those prices are attributed to.
Yeah, I think you'd have to make the call out to Platts or Fast Markets.
They don't. Where do people know
they pay a license to?
They pay a license to get the volume.
Yeah, to get
you can
get
see
the feed, yeah.
You can see in the brackets there all the ones they get. They're just the middleman passing on the information from Fast Markets or Platts.
Yeah, so I want to know the volume.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued to know. I'm not sure if they'd be so forthcoming with it, but
Come on, hook us up. Hook us up.
So if you guys remember, I think about 3 or so weeks ago, people got pretty excited about Pilbara selling their final block. That was sold pre the auction at US $1,200, but that was only for delivery in December, which isn't actually all that bullish. So in comparison, the Albemarle one we're talking about here, those tons are going to be delivered in the near term. So it's a bit more bullish than what we'd previously seen, and they're talking about selling another block next month already. So we'll kind of see where that goes. But just to look at Albemarle's strategy here, it doesn't totally make sense to me. Why you're trying to do this push for transparency and openness, but you haven't revealed the price. You didn't even come out with a press release or anything. We don't know who the buyer is. We don't know any detail about it. It's like, on the one hand, they want to go about the guise of being this chemicals business that gets a better multiple because they're a chemicals company, but on the other hand, they want to be a commodity business when it comes to the price that they receive for their commodities. So I think they're sort of stuck in between two strategies at the moment. And
are these auctions is a bit of I'm becoming cynical like you, Trav. Is it a bit of a tool that
you get your mate to bid for it at a high price?
Oh, no, but even just a tool that right, if we can get a bit more on here, we make a little bit more money. It's not 10,000 tonnes, not much for Albemarle, but the media shit it creates, and that the lithium price isn't bottomed anymore, they get more of a macro uplift with it.
I mean, perhaps. I think the fact that they're doing an auction regardless is encouraging for the lithium market. Remember, Pilbara completely stopped doing it when the market was really in a trough. So just the fact that they're doing this type of sale process does show that they're, regaining some sort of confidence, I'd say.
I suppose you got to have someone that wants to buy it, don't you?
Yeah, they're encouraging price discovery in a format that they think will yield it better than the current products out there are doing it. And to some extent, the critique of those products is valid, right? And it does kind of the media response is massive. There's no doubt, and then you get all the analysts who'll plug in an uplift in forecast price and all that sort of stuff, which is positive for the story. But their critiques are valid for the products.
Yeah,
I think once I saw the news, Sportsbet was paying $1.20 for Evan Cranston to put a post out about it.
Very good. I think regardless, these are parts of the ups and downs, not for Albemarle, but for the lithium market and a market in general, going from a very small niche sort of chemical to a much widely and bigger and higher volume market.
Bloody very good, JD. Your macro world analysis is stellar as always, mate. Tell you what, you aren't subscribed. You haven't got bloody broker accounts with every bastard like I do. The capital raises, they're bloody flying through. They're flying out the door.
Anything catching your eye, mate?
Future Battery Minerals, Pantera Minerals, Kingston Resources, which we're going to talk about later, Astral, so Bright Star, Firefly, OD6.
You missed BlackRock, is it? Yeah.
BlackRock, yeah.
Anyway,
Cream of the crop.
One couple did catch my eye. Actually, all of them caught my eye. I had a quick look, and I'm pretty sure all these companies are unverified. I did not see a verify model in any of them. Not saying they haven't, but I went through the presentations, could not find anything verify related. Alarm bells are ringing.
Does that mean they're uninvestable to you, matey?
Unverified, uninvestable. I wouldn't say uninvestable, but geez, I'm going to have to do some digging.
The risk equation is not very favourable.
If you're going to raise capital to keep the lights on, especially if you're early stage exploration, if you've got nothing to hide, showcasing your project in Verify is now mandatory. It's an industry standard.
Forget JORC, mate. This is it's like
JORC is jerk, essentially. It's Verify. That's overlay, mate. Let me take you on a journey. Overlay the 3D maps of the bloody correlations of the mineralised anomalies that are driving the planned drilling, and then you get the 3D results of the drilling. When you get it, you can even sex up the presentations even more with 360 drone and satellite shots. Mate, you can bring an American ore body to an Australian conference. People think they've travelled the whole way. They've pretty much got the frequent flyers.
PowerPoint is dead.
Site visits are dead, mate. You actually don't need to go on a site visit anymore. You can just attend it from your desk.
Sorry, Qantas. Mate.
And Brooks.
Those yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Brooks. Mate, those 7 companies I just mentioned, 8 with BlackRock, just raising cash. You need to get verified ASAP.
Yep.
Take action.
Make your company investable.
Yeah. Now, won't be too harsh on all of them. One of those companies we previously mentioned, I know for a fact they did take action on behalf of us vetting Seamus Murphy and Anytime Exploration and engage their services.
Good on
I won't say which one, mightn't be disclosable, but I just hope these other companies are going to start doing the same. If you need a Verify model, you need Anytime Exploration assisting you to get the data to put into the Verify model. Mate, core cutting, core storage, soil sampling, exploration people and equipment, and then Anytime will use that model to give you a bloody mineral resource estimate. Mate, Seamus can even do the earthworks and the prep for exploration with his new additional gig. Bloody Australian Earthworks and Haulage. Check this bloody out. They got their dump truck, their dozer, their excavator to get a washed out pit ramp back into action so the exploration drill rigs could get back in there bloody finding some ore. Mate, anytime, anywhere, anything, make an exploration both possible and piss easy.
Super impressive. Very impressive.
Great work, Seamus. Thanks for saving the day once again.
Seamus goes anywhere, but I don't think he would want to go to this country.
I don't know, Trav, because with all this publicity you are giving Sierra Rutile, which is in Sierra Leone, this could become a travel hotspot.
The more I look into this story, the less I want to go there.
Right. And the more you talk about it, it is not safe for you to go there.
I just want to point it out there. If
something happens to Trav,
I did not kill myself.
It is Sierra Leone related.
Suspicious.
Right, what's going on? There's a twist. Another twist.
Mate, I like.
It's like a strand of DNA. It's just freaking twisted the whole. Oh.
So there's more deja vu in the battle for Sierra Rutile. There's a twist in the Fumble in the jungle. I almost like that name better than the battle for Sierra Rutile. So I got to give credit.
Fumble in the jungle. You should be a boxing promoter.
Credit to Chucky who commented that one on Twitter. I quite like that, but I'm kind of wedded to using the battle of. So I might just throw
Fumble in the jungle.
So easy to repurpose that one.
Fumble in the jungle every now and again. But there's a twist. Remember last time how PRM, the entity connected to commodity trader Gerald Group, they'd launched a 249D to oust the entire board of Sierra Rutile just one day after launching an on-market takeover offer for the company. There's a twist, Matty. And that now it comes out that PRM has changed their mind. They're happy to keep one of SRX's board members, the mighty Patrick O'Connor. See it there. I read this and I had flashbacks to the history of another company, and it's Metals X. So look, ding, 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 I own that stock, full disclosure. I've talked about this before, but in 2020, Metals X's largest shareholder was Hong Kong-based fund APAC Resources. APAC Resources lodged a 249D to remove 3 of the board directors at that company who were not on APAC's own payroll. Those 3 directors were Brett Lambert, Tony Polghese, and get this, Patrick O'Connor. You see on this announcement that APAC hand-plucked Graham White and Peter Gunsberg as people they wanted to replace these directors. Flash forward a little bit, and you'll also learn that APAC never actually had to go ahead with the 249D vote. They got what they wanted without having to do that. There was clearly a deal struck, which ultimately saw APAC get its 2 nominees onto the board, and everyone else on the board departed within a few months, except for one person, Patrick O'Connor. Now, I've got no idea what conversations are had between O'Connor and the requisitioning shareholder APAC there, but it's a bit strange to be named explicitly as someone the requisitioner wants to oust and then be the only one standing there keeping your job. But, ultimately what's happened here is, Patrick O'Connor is remained at the company, and the sole requisitioning shareholder, which was a minority shareholder, gets effective control of Metals X because they control 3 of the 4 board seats. So, and he kept his job. So anyway, back to the Fumble in the jungle. Could it be possible that our good friend Mr. O'Connor is repeating the Metals X playbook here? Might he have gotten friendly with the requisitioning shareholder PRM?
Rolling over.
Don't know. Because suddenly now they don't want to oust him. Isn't that a bit strange? He was named as someone they wanted to oust before, and now he's not.
Now he's all good.
Yeah,
right.
It's kind of like Metals X. So now throw another spanner in the works. Look at the bottom of the announcement from Sierra Rutile today. The mining contractor, Mano Mining, they want a nominee on the board as well. And apparently, Mano want this guy, Jan Joubert.
I think it's Jean Joubert, if you're going to be South African.
Thank
you.
Don't
piss him off more than you fucking are already, Trav.
He's a fucking scary man. Please, I don't want to piss you off, Jean.
Jean Trav means all well here.
You're a good guy, Jean. But okay, so they want Jean Joubert to get a gig on the board for Sierra Rutile since they own more than 10% of the company, and they reckon that's fair. And because I still don't really know the intentions of Mano Mining, I decided to Google Jean Joubert Sierra Leone. Just chuck that in Google, see what pops up. And boy, oh boy, this guy seems to be the kind of guy you do not want to get on the bad side of. Just look at this. Look at this picture of him in the Financial Times. He's a scary looking dude.
Well, he's not that scary, but I think what you're about to tell us is a bit scary.
Mate, I'll read a sentence from this FT article about the guy. Jean Joubert has fought in some of Africa's nastiest wars, trained presidential bodyguards to scupper assassination attempts, and run a diamond mine in the face of rebel threat.
Oh, shit.
So Jabeur is an ex-military guy that has spent most of the last 2 decades in Sierra Leone running the Koidu diamond mine. Jabeur is described as a mercenary, and that mine in Sierra Leone, that diamond mine, that was once upon a time state-owned. It was a former centre of trade for the blood diamond industry too. Here's a quote from an article online I found. During the brutal civil war that raged between 1991 and 2002, the mine fell into the hands of South African mercenaries and has been operated as a private enterprise ever since. So Jabeur operates that diamond mine under the company Koidu Limited. Here's another quote from the same article. Since Koidu Limited took control in the early 2000s, hundreds of residents have been evicted from their homes to make way for the expanding diamond mine. Some families were included in the company's resettlement program, while many more were left homeless and destitute. Local leaders and land administrators did little to uphold citizens' land rights and protect their homes.
Some people might remember this from the movie Blood Diamond as well. Leonardo DiCaprio. Big one.
Was he playing him?
I don't think he was playing that guy, but it was a movie set in the Civil War period in Sierra Leone.
I haven't watched that.
I haven't watched it either.
Leonardo DiCaprio's South African accent was just horrendous in that. I do remember that.
I haven't seen it. There you go.
Sorry, Leo.
So an interesting character. Sounds like he might have a pretty good relationship with the government of Sierra Leone, at least. But then I kept reading about this Koidu Limited, who run that diamond mine. And get this.
You get an even better character here.
Koidu Limited was this. I'm just reading a quote from an article. Koidu Limited was registered in the British Virgin Islands. It is owned by holding company Octaya Limited, which is chaired by Jean Joubert. In 2016, Sierra Leone's High Court ruled that despite being the largest diamond mining company in the country, Octaya is not required to pay tax because its parent company, the Benny Steinmetz Group Resources, is not registered for business in Sierra Leone. Koidu Limited was also ruled to be exempt from paying taxes to the local community for the same reason. Isn't that crazy?
It sure is. And I think, people who've read a couple of the books on the shelves behind us might know this name, Benny Steinmetz. I think he's a far more interesting character than Jean Joubert or Joubert. This guy, he had some tax leaks in the Panama Papers book we've got behind him. He had offshore accounts. I mean, you don't go to the British Virgin Islands just for a holiday, as well as being heavily involved in the Samandu deal. So, I mean, he's got a full Wikipedia page you can read up on this stuff. He was also involved in the other book here, Red Notice, about seeding that fund, which, led to a pretty horrible outcome as well. But the Samandu case is by far the biggest, which, involved him taking possession of those tenements from Vale and then being levied a big fine and sentenced to prison by a Swiss court a couple years ago. So quite a colourful past. At one time a supposed billionaire as well. So
he is a billionaire. I mean, he's been convicted for bribing governments in Africa. That's this guy's MO.
That's how he got the Samandu tenements. So.
He's a billionaire briber of mining assets.
His appeals were also overturned in that case. So
Samandu, so he took him off Vale, then Rio ended up with him?
The sort of story goes that he had paid people related to governments and sort of people high up within Guinea to get those tenements.
There was a deal struck where he would get a 50% interest in the mine, and anyway.
Yeah, right. So, but he doesn't now.
No.
He then had them stripped off him, and they are now what Rio and these Chinese groups are developing.
So Vale missed out big time.
Yep, and they sued him pretty heavily for it. I don't think they got their money, but there's a long history, which is one of the reasons Samandu hasn't been developed in so long.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Right, tie it in, Trav.
So I think the latest revelation to me suggests there's a bit more to the mining contractor Mano than first meets the eye. The guy they want to nominate to the board is, or at least was, an operative for Benny Steinmetz, a billionaire convicted African government briber. I can't stop thinking about STAM, the Sydney Fund, right in the middle amongst this. They loaded up on Sierra Rutile as it was being revealed the government wanted to rejig the tax regime. They saw an opportunity at that point in time, but why? I'd love to know the answer to that question. Now they hold the 20% minority position with some really, really interesting characters around them who are keen to get control of this company. Like, jeez.
This story is bloody fascinating. I couldn't believe the twist that one's taken us down.
This has been the best one so far. If this guy gets involved,
and I've always talked about like my theory about the fact that the mining contractor is linked to the government, is linked to the PRM, commodity trader. Like the fact that there's this bloody connection to this African government briber, Steinmetz. Does that add? Like, do you reckon that adds potential that there's a link between him and the Craig Dean, Gerald Group commodity trader and the PRM?
And just look at the history of commodity traders and people like this, and the track record in places like the DRC, in Guinea, in Sierra Leone. They've worked hand in hand. Companies like Glencore have been fined heavily in the past for it. Just connect the dots.
Right. So who do you predict is going to own this? Like, is this heading towards Benny Steinmetz? Bloody
it'll be
Steinmetz?
I think who ultimately will own this is like the PRM have put in the takeover offer. I think whatever the proportions are, it'll be partially owned by the government. Like it'll be potentially partially owned by PRM and potentially partially owned by Mano. I think it could, the three of them will kind of potentially have some cut of the pie. It's my gut feel.
Yeah, right. And this Benny Steinmetz has effectively got his way in there.
Well,
possibly.
Not necessarily. Like, I can't draw that link, but the guy that Mano want to put on the board, either currently is or was a Steinmetz operative. Like, he was the guy that ran the diamond mine that was a subsidiary of Steinmetz Group.
Yeah, right. Bloody hell. And then you've got Stam just sitting there with 20%.
Yeah. Like, what the City Fund, like, mate, what an interesting position.
Can't believe it's listed on the ASX.
I kind of want to buy shares just to have a vote in all this.
Oh yeah. Just go to the AGM in Sierra Rutile.
I expect no return on that investment, but I kind of just want to vote in this saga anyway.
The winner's going to be whoever has the government on their side there.
Wow, this is going to be. Oh, mate, I'm in. Yeah. I'm into SRX. Oh, mate. Oh, geez, that took my breath away. Good, Trav. Good stuff, mate. You ain't, mate. Anyone listening, if you can find anything similar to that anywhere on YouTube or in the globe publicised, bloody come to me with it.
No one's talking about this yet. Like AFR, like Australians, no one has actually even reported on this M&A deal. But
this might be the first time the AFR actually plagiarises something we've said. Instead of the other way.
No, it goes both ways.
Oh, mate. Hastings capital raise. Talk about being in a bit of a precarious situation. This company, the hopeful rare earth producer, but in early development stages. Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's unpack this one. We'll go into the bit of the history of it, and because it all ties in. They're doing a renounceable rights issue today, 9 for 20 shares at 36 cents. Now, renounceable means that you can transfer the rights, which you don't normally see. It's normally non-renounceable.
Yep.
So they closed at 60.5 cents before the trading halt, and this rights issue is at a 40% discount to that price. And you also get a 1 for 3 attaching option at 50 cents. So the attaching option is lower than the last close price, which is very interesting. Extra, so that'd be 10 million bucks in options exercise. They friggin' need every bit of that if it gets up there.
I don't know if everyone will exercise that.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like, geez, a bit far out. They'd be. They need every million that they can get. So shareholders can also apply for more rights, more shares in the rights shortfall, and then not all of it that's partially underwritten. The underwriting's interesting. This is where the history starts. So 20 out of the 22, 8.75 has been underwritten by a group of investment firms and family offices. We'll go through who they are. We don't see L1 Capital, the 8.45% shareholder, underwriting it.
No, they're stuck. I bet they want to be a much lower shareholder than that.
Oh, yeah, but maybe average down. They put in $40 million in March 2022 at 25 cents. Now, you might have think, oh, shit, they're up.
No.
Unfortunately, Hastings did a 20-for-1 share consolidation a few months after that. So effectively, they bought in at $5, and now it's trading at 43.5 today. So L1 are down $36.5 million from the 40 they put in.
Yeah.
So
When you say it like that, it makes it kind of is like, geez, bloody doofuses. But I remember back then it wasn't so clear cut that Hastings was a dud. Like Hastings just like literally.
It was really accelerating to production, wasn't it?
They were like, they basically just fumbled a ball in front of goals on the grand final. They just absolutely cooked it. Like, and we'll get the financing is what they've cooked more than anything. But
those guys don't get too many wrong either. So.
L1 Capital,
L1.
Oh, St Barbara.
Wow, they get more right than they get wrong.
What do they say? You got to be right 60% of the time, and you'll be right. Let's look at who's. I'll show you the list of who's underwriting it, and how it all links up. So the main man of Hastings is this Charles Liu, the executive chairman. He's put a lot of his own money in it. And he started, I don't know if this is pronounced Equator or Equator Capital Management. So he started that. He left in 2018. They're underwriting $3 million of it. So he's not there now, but that's who he was with. Even when he was the major shareholder with Hastings, it was a related party. So Charles Liu owns 5.2% of Hastings. That's $3 of the million that's underwritten. The Advanced Opportunities Fund, they're underwriting $2 million, and that is managed by Tan Chun Wee. He was at RHB in 2004, 2005, and one of the board of directors. Charles Liu for 2004 to 2016. So they're mates. Paramount Star Investments for $1 million. So Hastings, one of the non-exec directors for Hastings, Guy Watson, he's also the CFO and company secretary for Bioxine. Bioxine sold 49% of its direct selling business to Paramount Star Investments in 22. So there's a link there. Neil Franks, $500,000. He's an ex-Glencore oil trader. Previously a 5% shareholder in Hastings back in 2017. So he's like, I might pick him up now possibly. So... there's always, when they say who's the mates, there's mates everywhere. Mate, Trav.
Yeah.
Let's go through what the big things to pay attention here are about. Is this raise even going to be enough?
Oh yeah, fucking absolutely not. I mean, the biggest detail to know about this company is completely fucking excluded from the prospectus they put out with this rights issue, which is such a fucking travesty, like literally deplorable detail to admit. And that's the fact that this company is in such a precarious funding situation. It all relates to the convertible note that they have with Wailu. In 2022, Wailu gave Hastings $150 million Aussie in the form of a convertible note. Hastings needed the money to buy that minority stake in Neo Performance Materials because clearly they wanted to merge with Neo. That's just like magnet manufacturer overseas. Now, clearly nothing has happened there. I'm sure they tried. I'm sure they got pushback and they couldn't do the deal.
Well, and since buying that stake, Neo Performance Materials is down 63%. So the stake cost 134 Canadian dollars.
Yep.
Now worth 54 Canadian bucks.
Yep.
So they've burnt 90 million Aussie on that position, which they borrowed to get
fund
that position.
Yeah. And it
makes my CFD trading don't look too bad back in the day.
Yeah, and when you borrowed, like, it's a convertible. Oh, geez, do I actually have to pay them back cash or does it just convert to shares? Well, mate, the terms of the convertible note with Wailu matter a hell of a lot, and you got to grapple with this if you're a shareholder of Hastings because it's pretty fucking ugly in my opinion. Essentially, because Hastings share price is incinerated in the last few years, the exchange rate of the convertible is so far out of the money that Wailu will not at all convert to Hastings shares.
$5.50.
Yeah,
I think when they did it was mid fours, I think, and then the convertible was
at a premium.
At a premium.
And there's just like so Wailu's gonna sit there and think, will I convert my shares or not? No, I fucking want my money back.
Want the money back, yes.
So they're gonna ask for their money back, and that note is redeemable by Wailu as early as 2 years from its issue, which is October this year, i.e. 7 months away. But to be clear, the term of the note is 3 years. So they might get to wait until the following October for the full term of it. But, Wailu, they have the right to ask for their money after year 2 if they want to for an early redemption fee.
Yeah, so they can get all the money and interest after 3 years, but from between the 2 and 3 year period, they can ask for the money back, but they forego the interest owed, and they also forego 15% of the face value, which is 150 million. So thumb suck, I think that's about, so that'll be about 75 mil that Wyloo would miss out on if they redeemed it from
They chose to
the
redeem
2
early.
year point, which they have the option to.
Let's assume Wyloo will be nice to Hastings and let them off until October 2025 in that case, Matty,
Yeah.
and they might want full bang for their buck. Well, when you throw in like the interest that's accruing on this note,
Because it's BBSY plus 9%.
yep. So let's
Yeah.
just call that 14%, right?
Yeah.
Right. So chuck in the interest on the 150 million. Hastings will need to stump up $222 million cash to give to Wyloo in 18 months' time.
Far out.
How the hell are you going to get that cash? There's no fucking way. Wyloo thankfully took security over the Neo Performance Materials shares, but those shares are not going to settle the debt. The Neo
What they're worth, what did we say, 60 odd million
62 million bucks, like in
Yeah.
Aussie dollar terms. Like, so you've got to ask the question, where's the other $160 million going to come from in 18 months' time? Hastings does not have the cash. In fact, they're spending their cash like crazy. They started building Yangibana without ever actually having enough funding secured to complete that by a mile. Can you imagine that? The company, has a mere $55 million market cap today, and they're dreaming if they think they're going to get full subscription of this rights issue. They're going to be left with like a 20% constructed project and no money and a debt obligation to Wyloo for another $160 million after they hand over the Neo shares to them. So what do you think Wyloo's going to do when they don't get their money in 18 months' time? Do you think they're going to be happy chappies and just shake hands and call it a day? Or do you think they'll be pissed off and put Hastings into administration, which would likely result in Wyloo just owning the project or selling the project?
Yeah. So it is all hinging on getting a big debt financing package to probably wipe out the Wyloo note, because they should be able to pay it. They'll be able to pay that back because Wyloo are never going to convert it, because the share price is probably not going to go anywhere near $5.50 again, you would not think. So they need a Liontown jobby where Liontown need a big debt funding package to pay out the Ford deal and then fund the project. But is that going to come?
Yeah, I think. I mean, look at the
I think
market cap today.
there's still hope, like not hopeful, but there's the pie in the sky for the NAIF funding as well. I think it's still a possibility.
Even if you put debt in there to pay out the other debt, like what's your case for equity? I mean, the only way that how does that debt get paid out? You know what I mean? Like, equity is the only way. And when you've got a market cap of $55 million, guess what? You can't fucking raise 160 to pay back the debt. No, it's not going to work. Like, they're literally like fucked. This is like proper fucked.
Yeah, yeah, with a rubber hose.
Yeah. Anyway,
Haven't you heard that, JD?
I have not.
Haven't you heard "fuck me with a rubber hose"?
unless the fairy godmother comes along, buddy.
Yeah. So they got I think they're raising. What have they got? Another 1.275 million from that at the market facility as well. But that's
Geez, they just kill the share price even more. Those things.
yeah. So no, because they did. Haven't they got so they got some offtake, signed some offtake and stuff like that for the project, but it needs the debt, a big bloody debt package. But if anyone's going to lend it to them.
Yeah.
But that'll be mate. I got my eyes on it now, Trav. It's always been there, but after getting into it today, now I'm interested.
Oh, I love
So,
it,
what do you think the play? So let's spitball let's go to October 2025.
Yep.
They haven't secured a debt funding package.
Yeah.
That is worst case scenario.
They need it. They'd prefer
Wyloo
equity,
comes
yeah.
knocking on the door
Yeah.
and says, we want our $220 million.
Yep. They hand over the shares, and Wyloo says, you still owe me 160.
Yeah, so they get the Neo Performance shares, which who knows what they'll be worth then. And yeah, could be less, could be more, but
Yep.
there's possibly going to be a gap unless there's a big, massive uplift in NdPr prices globally.
Yeah. Then then Wailu could put them into administration. It could be
So they're the credit, like they're the
creditor
creditor that puts them in.
Yeah, and then if you're the creditor that's owed money, or the one that's owed the most, you would ultimately have the most control over the influence of the administration process. So I think at that point it's kind of up to Wailu. Do they want to own Yangibana, or would they prefer to just get their money back? If they wanted to own it, then heck, you could imagine them just owning 100%, like
sell it to Iluka or something.
Yeah, well, if they that's another option they could do is sell it, because can the feed from Hastings feed any ABBA? If it can, maybe Iluka would have interest in owning Hastings.
Very interesting thing of events. What is it? What's
Turn
of events?
You're going to tip into this capital raise, mate?
Heaps of events. No. I don't think I've made money off any capital raises I've gone in.
That's probably got something to do with
Actually, I think I took a quick 10% on the Wildcat one, and I've sold at the top.
Oh, there you go, mate.
Every other one, no, I did. I made good. I made good on one.
on the one that can't be named.
Yeah.
Alrighty, there was some relatively exciting hits and a capital raise which you took a peek at, Trav. So we're talking about Kingston's capital raise here and Talisman's announcement of a base metal discovery in the Cobar.
Yep, quick one. You guys know Talisman?
I do. Kerry Amarnis.
I remember him from the early days when they discovered Monty next to DeGrussa.
I did not know that.
They had there was the JV, the farming thing there.
Oh,
they also pick up a decent check every year for a royalty that they have, which keeps them nicely funded. Although it doesn't hurt having Kerry Amarnis be the chair.
Totally, yeah, and I think that that's the kind of both Kerry Amarnis and the royalty thing kind of make the little exploration company pretty interesting kind of entity, because
maybe Tony Rivera should go on the board with it.
You're on
Tony Amarnis?
a mission to make the
I want to make them together.
The two eras, two boom times. But Kerry ran an actual company. Like, it was wasn't it? Wasn't it a producer?
You're saying about Azure?
Wasn't Jubilee like an actual?
Yeah, it was producing.
They were a producer.
Yeah.
Tony, he didn't even have a fucking resource.
Mate, he's killed it. Go Tony, mate, legend. Oh.
Yeah, it's probably the easier way to do it, isn't it? Anyway,
I'd take the Tony option.
Yeah. Anyway, interesting little company, because you got the royalty funding the exploration. They are up 40% today with a new base metals discovery, and I won't pretend to be able to understand if the discovery is any good or not, because that is not my expertise. But I wanted to point out the fortuitous timing of Kingston Resources, mate. We spoke about Kingston in our interview with Dan Porter just a couple of weeks ago. They've got this Mineral Hill project in the Cobar, which happens to be pretty close to Talisman. Look at this map from Talisman's release today. The Mineral Hill project is right there. It includes mill infrastructure. That Dunning's right next to Mineral Hill there. That's the discovery location. So fortuitous timing from Kingston. Capital raising today, the morning their neighbour releases a discovery. What a great story. Just imagine the brokers calling up all their clients. Oh, we raised money for Kingston, and today, would you believe, Talisman have had a discovery right now. Oh, mate, what a story for the brokers. Very, very coincidental, fortuitous timing.
From a bloody man that bleeds blue, it's great to see some neurology action happening in my home state in New South Wales. This is sensational. Go the Blues.
Anyway, the presentation with that capital raise includes a picture of all the players in that Cobar region, which is interesting. There's a lot of latent infrastructure around there.
I've been looking for this. We've been needing this photo.
Yeah.
This is good. 3
operating plants in mineral in the Cobar region there, in Mineral Hill, CSA and Tritton, and 3 mills on care and maintenance in Winter, Hera and Endeavour. So very long infrastructure that area is. But we talk about potential Cobar consolidation and all that sort of stuff a lot. And I think it's just a theme that we'll be following for a while.
Do you see the bottom town there, the one written big? Do you see that? Condobolin.
Yeah.
You know who's from there?
No.
Shannon Knoll.
There you go, mate. Fucking all of the legends are from the Cobar.
Yeah, Condobolin, mate.
There you go.
I've been to all the BNSs around there and the races.
I'm sure you have,
all the
mate.
Sydney private school kids. Yeah. Righto. ASM, JD, what's the goss?
We've got one more. So the money miners will remember we spoke about ASM last week. They received a letter of interest from the US Export-Import Bank for US $600 million in funding. Now, it looks very much like there was a bit of a leaky ship along that process somewhere. So they came out on the 21st of March at 8:25 with the news that they'd signed this or that they'd received this letter of interest. But the previous day, the stock had started at 99 cents. It opened at 99 cents and closed at $1.19. So that's a 20% jump on no news. That's very suspicious activity, if you ask me. And then on the day the news came out, the stock closed up a further 20%, although during that day it had risen as much as 38%. So for the quote-unquote risk of holding ASM shares for just over a day, an astute investor could have picked up a 66% return, if you bought it at the lows and sold it at the highs. And even at the smallest possible difference between day one and day two, there would have been at least a 15% profit. So no need to worry about it. The ASX is going to give them a firm slap on the wrist. And
A firm slap.
firm slap.
Here's an idea. We could, I reckon, drop the operating costs of the ASX a shitload because all these price queries and ASX awares and slap on the wrists that go out, nothing happens from it. There's probably no point even sending the friggin' thing out because the stuff like this keeps happening. So why even bother bloody sending it out in the first place if nothing's ever done about it?
Cut your staff.
What a waste of time.
Unfortunately, that is very much true,
Mate,
Matty.
we don't run money of mine like that, JD. There's no unnecessary shit going on here. Everything is for a purpose.
So it's infuriating that, companies and people continue to get away with this. Like you said, Matty, it keeps happening over and over again. And in the query today that they received from the ASX, it is noted that in the days before, the 19th and whatnot, a couple days before the actual news is shared to the market, they were aware of the quantum and it looked like this thing is going to happen. So to be clear, not accusing ASM of any wrongdoing. There's people
there's so
involved.
many third parties involved. That's why, what's
Exactly.
the point of, it's like how you're going to ever stop it anyway? Because
Yeah.
fucking word gets around to someone.
But it's-
That's the
whether
worst thing.
whether the companies it's
Hand over the
leaky
fucking
or not.
trades. Hand over the trades. Who bought shares? Like that's the fucking way to figure it
but
out.
they have the ASX have the power to do that.
They can demand it. They can demand it.
Absolutely. It is so glaringly obvious that this doesn't pass the pub test, and let's just bloody hope that something is sooner or later done about it.
Yes, I think individuals that are third parties that we don't know fucking who did the trades or not, but it's the individuals. They think, it's only a small amount. You get away with it because nothing ever gets done about it.
Mate, someone went to jail for that the other day.
Yep, just announced yesterday.
Oh, who? Which one?
The Genesis.
The Genesis thing.
Oh, that one.
Nev
Yeah.
Al's son's friend.
Son's business partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he's in jail 9 months.
Minimum 9 months, 2 years.
Yeah.
It's enough to deter me from fucking insider trading.
But there's not many. For how often it happens,
Bloody
and how
embarrassment.
many people get done for it, it's a very low percentage.
You're dead right. It's from the government and the regulators' point of view, it's very hard to prove.
Geez, that bloody dragged on for ages because that Genesis, when that happened, that was a long time ago when you had the rally lift in the stock.
That happened in 21 and was arrested in December 22.
Yeah. There you go. Big
Alrighty.
Brother's always watching, investors. Look
Listen.
after yourselves.
Bloody interesting stories there, gentlemen.
Oh, mate, fuck, we're on fire this week. It's
Couple
all. I feel that Sierra Rutile has injected a new. It's pretty much like we're on the roids. Like we have that much new energy because of Sierra Rutile.
It's all about the personalities involved, and there's some bloody big ones in this
isn't
one.
there? There's some good personalities today. Good work, Trav. Love your work, mate. And money miners, support Trav's crusade for Sierra Rutile, please. Give him some feedback. He'll bloody love it. Mate, I love VRIFY. And I love anytime exploration.
I love GetWet Solutions, Matty.
I love getting wet. Mate, DSI Underground, friggin' love them. Mate, I love VSDs for your underground mine from Smack Power and Technology. And,
Their love doesn't stop. Anytime exploration services.
oh, mate, we love them twice. Mate, KCA, I love underground mining equipment on hire. Love it.
Can't get enough of it.
Oh, geez, I love Brooks and that is a lot of love because there's a lot of Brooks. Brooks Airways, notably.
And last but definitely not least, Matty,
I love Ryan O'Sullivan.
thank you, K-Drill.
K-Drill.
Hooteroo.
The information contained in this episode of Money of Mine is of general nature only and does not take into account the objectives, financial situation or needs of any particular person. Before making any investment decision, you should consult with your financial advisor and consider how appropriate the advice is to your objectives, financial situation and needs.